Hey friends, Ash here. Hope you're doing well. Today I've got for you guys 12 different fragrances that you can wear year-round that aren't your more typical basic fragrances that are thought of as year-round versatile scents. And when I say that, I'm talking about stuff like this, Dior Sauvage or Bleu de Chanel, stuff like that. You know, your average blue fragrance, because that's what most people think of when they think of the easiest thing that they could pull off whenever they want. And I've got kind of a mix here. I've got some fragrances that are gonna be better suited for younger guys, some that are more for middle-aged guys or even older. All of these are linked in the description. Feel free to check them out down there. The first fragrance is Dior Homme 2020. Now I know some people might be like, I don't know, man, Dior Homme 2020, that's kind of basic. Maybe, but compared to what most people are wearing, it's definitely different. All you gotta do is look at the top selling fragrances out there and see that this one is gonna stand out versus those. This one's very modern, fresh, spicy, and woodsy. So it's not one that's like super sweet or anything like that. You're not gonna get a whole bunch of fruits off the top or anything. There's a little bergamot off the top, which helps balance everything out, but it's not gonna be overloaded with sweets, with sugary aspects or anything like that. Very classy, gentlemanly, and versatile. And you can pretty much pull this off year round. It's gonna work during winter, it's gonna work during summer. Maybe you go a little heavier in winter and not quite as heavy in summer, but you can still wear it. I thought about putting Dior Homme Sport in here instead of Dior Homme 2020, but that one I feel like for a lot of people is gonna be a little more summer centric, so I went with this one instead, but that one also would work. From there, Stronger With You Only, which is almost like a black sheep of the Stronger With You family. When it comes to Stronger With You, most people are gonna talk about intensely or absolutely, and for good reason. They're really, really, really good. But Stronger With You Only doesn't really get talked about so much. Kind of like Stronger With You Freeze that came before it. Out of all the Stronger With You fragrances that you can get right now though, this one is the best if you want just one for all year long. And it's also the cheapest one, so that's good too. Is it the cheapest one because not as many people want it? Yeah, I'm pretty sure that's why. But don't let that fool you into thinking that this is a fragrance that nobody's gonna like, you know, the type of fragrance that turns people away, because it's not. At the end of the day, it's still a Stronger With You and everything that comes with that. In terms of the note breakdown, if you're familiar with Stronger With You, then the note breakdown should remind you of some of the other fragrances in that line, because it has chestnut, vanilla, lavender, geranium, and grapefruit. And to think about this in a very simplified way, basically you take Stronger With You, freshen it up a little bit, and make it easier to wear when the temperature starts to go up. It's not quite as strong in terms of the performance, but that is the exact reason you can wear it all year. Next up is Varvados Artisan, the beautiful looking silver spray painted basket bottle. Basket bottle, that's a new word. Depending on where you shop, you can pick this one up for about 35 bucks, sometimes less. Of course, that's if you're shopping at discounters, which if you do happen to shop at discounters, I have a bunch of codes you can use for a lot of different discount websites. You can use any of these at these different stores to save yourself some money, but do be aware the JOMASHOP codes only work within the app. Now, in terms of note breakdown, this one has bitter orange, it has Sichuan pepper, bergamot, wormwood, cedar, and the most important note, vetiver, because that's really what's most prominent here. It's kind of in the vein of something like Tom Ford's Gray Vetiver. So a very clean, fresh, and classy vetiver scent that's had that dirty aspect from vetiver washed away and left with more of just a really pleasant woodsy feeling. And it's one that you can wear pretty much anywhere, anytime, and it's office safe. That being said, with vetiver scents, a lot of the time younger people don't like them quite as much. It's usually like middle-aged guys and older that gravitate toward fragrances like that. Let's go really cheap. Lacoste LOM. LOM Intense, also really good. It doesn't feel like it, but this came out 7 years ago. It came out in 2017. That's just... And unfortunately, it looks like Lacoste has pretty much abandoned this line of fragrances, so I don't think we're gonna get any new ones anytime soon. And in terms of price point at discounters, around 25 to 35, depending on where you're shopping and what size you're going for. In terms of notes, this one has a lot of citrus. It has mandarin orange and sweet orange, rhubarb, ginger, almond, vanilla, and woods. And this one's just a really easy wearing, fresh, kind of sweet, zingy fragrance, the type of thing that you can wear anywhere, anytime, any place. It's not overly strong in terms of the fragrance itself, so if you want something that's really heavy, that's not gonna be this one. But because it's cheap, you could spray a lot of it on, try to get a little extra performance out of it. All right, let's go with something that's more youthful. This one is Karolina Herrera 212 VIP Men Wins. And I gotta tell you, this is not really my favorite. I'm not a huge fan of it, but it does have one thing going for it that I do love, and that is a magnet in the cap. Something so simple, but I love it. And this one says right here, limited edition, but you can still find it as of this video really easily, so apparently not too limited. And you may say, well, yeah, dude, it's still limited. It didn't come out that long ago, did it? It came out in 2021. So here we are, 3 years going on 4 years later, and you can still find it really easily. As I said, this is probably going to appeal more to guys middle-aged and younger because it does have a really sweet aspect to the fragrance. Yuzu is one of the main notes in here right off the top. There's also basil, mandarin orange, tonka, and pepper as well. It could remind you a little bit of Spice Bomb Night Vision, the way that it comes across, and it is going to be more of like a spring, summertime fragrance for a lot of people. But this is one of those ones that if you spray it on in the cold, when it's really chilly in the dead of winter, it has this really brisk, almost icy effect, which can make it shine even more than you would expect during the summer. Then we have Prada LOM. This is the original LOM, so that's gonna give you a very soapy, classy, clean aspect. One of the more well-known office or work fragrances out there. It is more of a daytime fragrance. If you wanted something that leans more nighttime use, go with LORAL Intense. That one adds leather, a little more of a masculine overall scent profile. It kind of takes some of the edge off of the soapiness. So if you don't like as much of that iris, also check that one out. In terms of the other notes here outside of that iris, there's black pepper, neroli, cardamom, violet, geranium, amber, and woods as well. And I feel like this one would make a great signature scent because it does have just that like sexy sophistication to it while still being very easy to wear and a great casual fragrance as well as formal fragrance. I got another iris one here, so I'm gonna go with that one next, and it's this one, Karolina Herrera once again with CH Passion. And this is another one, limited edition, that you can still find. But to be fair to this fragrance, it only came out in 2023. So it hasn't been out that long. And while we're on the topic of limited editions and Karolina Herrera, I should say that they have had limited editions in the past that have become really difficult to find and much more expensive. So I just want you to know that. I'm not trying to say Karolina Herrera always comes out with limited editions that you can find 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 years later with no problems. It really depends on the fragrance because they've had some, like I said, that came out and then they were actually limited and gone pretty quickly. Then they had other ones that lingered on the secondhand market and stuff for a long time. Okay, back to this one, note breakdown. It has iris, olibanum, neroli, myrrh, cedar, sandalwood, and vanilla among other notes. And I love the way the iris comes across here. I think if you're a fan of stuff like Dior Homme, talking about the original Dior Homme, not that Dior Homme, or even Prada LOM Intense, Valentino Uomo, stuff like that, this is gonna be right in that wheelhouse without actually smelling the same as any of those. The woodiness, the myrrh, and the vanilla in there really help balance out that creamy, semi-makeup-y iris. It keeps it from going full-on lipstick mode. And then the opening has a nice bit of freshness, but a touch of almost like incense in there in the background as well. Really, really good stuff, great quality. Let's go with another really cheap one. This is Perry Ellis Midnight. And I actually got this one a long time ago, and right after I got it, it pretty much sold out at all the discounters, wasn't really available much. Couldn't even find it on Perry Ellis's own website at the time, which is a shame because it's really, really, really good. And now you can find it for about 24 bucks. And that is a pretty nice price. In terms of notes, you've got amber in here, you have mandarin orange, cinnamon, orange blossom vanilla, and tonka as well. It's drawn some comparisons to fragrances like The Most Wanted from Azzaro, but it's not at all a one-to-one with that fragrance. Maybe I'd say if you like one, you'll probably like the other more like that, although they do both have black bottles, so they do have that going on. It's more zingy and sweet off the top, almost like a little carbonated pop when you spray this on, really leaps off your skin. A little fresher in the opening, and as it dries down, it gets warmer. A really good one for fall and winter time, but because of that freshness off the top, as long as you don't go too heavy during spring and summer, it'll work too. And also, just in terms of the scent itself, price point wise, great bang for your buck. All right, this next one is one that I love. So you can hate on the fragrance, all right? A lot of people have, but I like it, so I'm gonna put it in here. It's Intenso from Dolce & Gabbana. I mean, it did used to be a little bit cheaper at discounters. It's slightly more expensive now. Still not crazy expensive or anything, just it's increased in price over time. That's okay, I've got a couple bottles of it. In terms of notes, it has lavender, hay, hay, tobacco, clary sage, basil, sandalwood, cypress, and other notes. And it's a flanker to Dolce & Gabbana Pour Homme, which gets pretty much no love at all nowadays. This one came out in 2014, so it has been a whole decade since Dolce & Gabbana has done anything with this line. Light blue fragrances don't count. And this one is definitely more of a classy, aromatic, gentlemanly kind of fragrance, you know, herbal undertones to it. It's mature, but smells very pleasant, comforting, classy. So this is gonna be one more for middle-aged guys and older. Unless you're younger, and you just want to smell like you got your stuff together, you don't want something super sweet, you could go for it. I'm not saying you're gonna love it, you'd go for it. Then I've got Narciso Rodriguez for him Bleu Noir Eau de Parfum. It's a blue fragrance, but not really. At least not in the sense of Sauvage or Y Eau de Parfum or something. Does have a blue bottle though, does have blue in the name. So this one's gonna be another one that has kind of a soapy aspect to it, a fresh, clean aspect to it. There's musk in there, there's vetiver, cedar, and amber as well. It could remind you a little bit of Declaration from Cartier, but this one does not smell quite as dated as that one. Not that that's a bad fragrance or anything like that, it's just if you're looking for something a little more modern, that's what this is. Performance on it is decent, not amazing, but for this type of scent, it works really well because it is, like I said, more of like a classy, sexy, soapy, modern men's fragrance. Let's go with something sweeter, Fusion DC Extreme. And this is one I think just about anybody could pull off as long as they enjoy the note breakdown. Also, typically pretty easy to find compared to some other ECMIAK fragrances and has a cool cap, but it's not magnetic. Depending on where you look, you can find this, a 50 ml size anyway, for under 30 bucks, so really affordable. It has coconut in there, along with mint, cardamom, bit of a minerality as well, and sandalwood. It's not exactly the same as, you know, Le Beau or Paradise Garden or those fragrances. I bring those up because of the coconut note that they both share. Maybe the coconut aspect of those fragrances is similar, this one compared to those, but the overall makeup of the fragrance is different. This one is a little more zingy, fresh, and almost has like a fuzzy undertone to it. But still, nobody's really wearing this. It's not that expensive, and if the coconut works well for you, it can really have you standing out, and you can wear it all year. All right, last but not least, LAIK's White. Yes, LAIK White. This one very affordable from discounters. It's not gonna cost you much at all, and has a little bit of a similarity to Parfums de Marly's Galloway. At discounters, we're gonna be looking about 30 bucks for this one. Maybe sometimes you might find it a little bit less, but right around that range. It's got lemon leaf, bergamot, tamarind, white pepper, nutmeg, and cedar, among other notes. So it's fresh, a little bit spicy, woodsy, and has some green aspects as well. Quality is great for the price point. Performance is okay. It's not amazing, so to be aware of that. But it's a really easy one to wear all year round, especially if you're looking for something that does have that classy side to it. And really, LAIK in general has affordable fragrances that smell way higher quality than they cost. So there we go, guys. There are 12 different options. Some of these more for younger guys, some more for middle-aged guys, some more for old guys, so something for everybody that you can wear all year round, whether we're talking middle of summer, middle of winter. That is not Sauvage. Thank you guys for hanging with me. Stay safe out there, and I will see you tomorrow with another fragrance video. See you guys.